Whew. Welcome on this Thursday evening to the Expats Career Miracle. My name is Chris Piak. I'm the Managing Director of Immigrant Spirit GmbH. I'm really glad you took time, 1 hour time for yourself today to talk with me about your career here in Germany, about the obstacles that you might face finding a job in Germany. And I'm pretty sure I can offer you a few tools that will help you to move forward in your job hunt here in Germany. Concretely, I will share with you 7 steps that will help you get through to an employer in Germany and convince him to hire you even if you don't speak German now. That's the purpose of today's webinar, to share with you 7 steps that will help you to find a job where you can start working in English and learn German on the job. Many of you know me already because you are subscribed to my newsletter or you listened to my podcast, where I interview nearly every week one German employer who is hiring in English. If you haven't checked out my podcast, I recommend you do. You'll find a lot of German employers there who actually hire in English right now at the time when I interview them. And these are usually really great people who care much more about what you can contribute to them than they care about anything like degree or your German language skills or something like that. You might also know me from my book, How to Win Jobs and Influence Germans. It's a step-by-step guide into the German job market. Just on 1st of May, on Labor Day, I have released the second edition of my book, which is updated and also has a few new information in it based on the things that I learned working with international professionals over the years. If you want to find a step-by-step guide into the job market, this is the book that I recommend to you. And many people think it's a good book as well. As you can see, it's usually number 1 or number 2 in job search at Amazon here in Germany. Yeah, I will start slowly with you because there are still people joining the call. Let me say hi to a few of you. Varinda, hello. Nandagiri, hello. Sultan, hello. Guys, there are 35 people in the call right now. And at the end of the call, I will provide an opportunity for you to get in touch with me, to get to discuss your career challenge in an individual coaching session with me. During this call, I will address the questions that are most usual and that I really know from years and years working together with international professionals that they really bother you. They will all get answered in this webinar. And then at the end, I provide an opportunity for you to get in touch with me if you want to discuss your career in a more individual setting. A few more people say hello. Fazane, hello. Vinayak, hello. Sivakumar, hello. Ruslan, hello. Tululope, hello. I think Tululope, we wrote on you wrote me a message before. SS98998 Ification, hello. Your parents were really creative in giving you a name. Yogesh, hello. Anshul, hi. Abhijit, Kotwal, hello. And Sonal. Anshul, just for your information, there will be nothing new in this podcast, nothing that you know already. But if you want to join and get yourself a motivation boost, of course, you are very welcome. Abhijit, hello. Sonal, Guillermo, Daniela, and SS9898ification says, sorry, my name is Ellen. Hi, Ellen. Yaza, Ubvita, we also had a communication before already. Very nice for all of you to join. There are now 57 people in the call. And I say, let's get started with the content, shall we? And for you, actually, can you still hear me? Give me a quick shout out that you are still there or that you see me still there, because my my second screen here doesn't really show. Okay, I assume that you are still there. Otherwise, I talk to myself. Yeah, it starts for you usually here with your application. And you spend a lot of time preparing your job application, optimizing your CV, optimizing your cover letter, and then when you really honed it to perfection, you send it out to an employer in the hope that he will be attracted to what you have to offer and and invite you for a job interview. Unfortunately, that's not how it looks like for the employer. For the employer, your carefully drafted application for which you spent hours to optimize it looks just like this. No? Monday morning, you come into the office and there is a huge number of emails waiting for you, a huge number of job applications waiting for you, and you have to go through them. And HR people, recruiters, they go through their job applications exactly like you go through your email, meaning they skim the headline, and if it's interesting, they will click open, and they will spend on average 7 to 12 seconds with your CV. You spend 2 hours preparing your CV, they will spend 7 to 12 seconds. And only then they will decide, do I read on? Is this interesting? Or do I reject you? And if you can't manage in the first 2 or 3 sentences to make clear why you are the solution to the employer's problem, then you're out. Especially if you don't fit into the DIN norm, into the ISO norm of expectation. Meaning if you are too young, if you are too old, if, oh my God, you are 30 years old, you are a woman and just got married, and beware, you might want children very soon, or if you're a foreigner and you don't speak the German language. The easiest way for HR to reduce their workload is simply to reject you. And I will show you a much better way today to get through to an employer and to make clear how you can add to the employer's goals, how you can add to their results, and how you make sure that they actually will get into a conversation with you. Because only then can you prove your value. But first, I understand that many of you have written 50 applications, 100 applications, 200. I knew one guy who sent 1,000 applications out and didn't get a single interview. I'm not surprised, because that's basically just spam. And the number one thing that German HR people complain about to me is that many candidates will send them generic job applications, which very often don't even include a name, which very often show very clearly that the candidate has no clue what the company is actually doing. And if you send out something like this, feel free to continue doing this for years, because no one will give you a job. No one will even invite you to a job interview. And pretty soon it will be clear for you why that is. Let's have a look at this wonderful graph here, at this big red donut. The big red donut is the German job market. Great news. There are now over 1 million open jobs in Germany. As of today, 3rd of May 2018, there is 1 million open vacancies in Germany. But the problem is, and the challenge for you is, you don't apply in this big red donut. You apply only in this little yellow speck. And that's the number of jobs that are offered in English. And that's only 3% of the German job market. So out of 1 million jobs that are available, only 30,000 are offered in English. 30,000 jobs. And now understand that every single year there's 1 million European Union citizens, my fellow European Union citizens, and actual immigrants moving to Germany legally. And this 1 million new people, they compete for the small number of 30,000 jobs. So in other words, every single job that you apply for in English, you face huge competition. And that's your second problem, that you don't apply alone. You have huge competition, and companies that hire in English, they can basically pick the perfect candidate for them. I will show you a better way how you can get a job if you just do a few things differently than you are used to. And the last point, to hammer this home, if you are a German employer listening to this podcast right now, and I always have some recruiters or CEOs joining the podcast as well because they're interested to see what I have to offer. Feel free, because I will make you a great present right now. On this graphic, you see a light orange line and a dark orange line. And the light orange line shows you the German language job offers in Germany. And you can see after 2 months, 60% of these jobs are still available. They're still not filled. But if you look at the dark orange line, that's the English language jobs that are available in Germany. And these jobs, after just 3 weeks, 60% of them have been filled, have been sold. And that's a huge advantage for you if you are an employer. In the moment when you start hiring in English and allowing professionals to learn German on the job, then your worries about Fachkräftemangel, they are over. They don't exist anymore, because you will get much more candidates than you can ever use. Now, back for you as a candidate, what does this mean is that if you find an English job offer that you are interested in, apply very fast and apply in a way that you are simply irresistible. It's not enough to simply send your standard CV if you're competing with hundreds, literally hundreds of other candidates. Which brings me to the motto of my company. My company is called the Immigrant Spirit GmbH. And I call it Immigrant Spirit and not slave.com, because I am not looking for foreigners. I don't care where you're from. What I'm looking for is professionals who bring a certain attitude to my home country. People who are optimistic, who believe in their strengths to build a better life. People with vigor, who don't wait for permission, but who have the energy to make stuff happen. People with courage, because if you're afraid, then nothing will ever get better. You need to be able to take a few risks in order to build a better life. Also people with stamina, because nothing that is of value comes easy to you. You have to carry through the tough times if you want to be successful. People who are open, who will build new friendships based on common values that we share, and not based on nationality or heritage or anything else, but on the values that we share and that bring us together. And finally, I want to work with people who want to give back to society and who approach a job with the feeling, how can I best help my employer to reach his goals? Because that's what actually will make the difference in the long term between a great career and having only shitty jobs. The people who have a great career, they all care first about delivering results. And that's the kind of people that I want to help into the German job market. And I know that's the kind of people that you are. Yeah, I talk about this in more detail and give actually a step-by-step guide how to do this in my book, How to Win Jobs and Influence Germans, which you can get in every Amazon website around the globe, either as an ebook or as a paperback. But here and now, I want to share with you 7 steps that you can take that will lead you straight to a great job, to a job where you can start working in English and learn German on the job, to a job where the manager that you will work for will really understand what you have to contribute and will value it. And best of all, if you implement the 7 steps, you will not have to talk to HR until basically everything is decided. You don't start by talking to HR, you end by talking to HR after basically it's clear that you get invited to a job interview. So, and the first step of the 7 steps, are you ready for this? Is you need to find a fitting job offer. Who would have thought? Are you glad that you joined this webinar today? Well, I know, of course, that you know that you have to find a job offer. I just put this in here to have a complete set from all the steps that you need. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find a fitting job offer. You can search on immigrantspirit.com if you want to search for only English job offers, but also at monster.de, JobScout24, Glassdoor.de, many other websites in Germany where you can find job offers. And the only criteria for you, and you need to be really honest about that, the only criteria for you to decide if you should apply for a job is this. Do you believe you can deliver the results that this job is based on? If you get this job, can you get the employer the results that he wants? And if your answer is yes, can you describe in detail how you will reach these results, even if you don't speak German in the beginning? So basically, we are talking about the time, the 1 year, 1.5 year that you will need to learn fluent German. How will you deliver the results for this job in this time? And if you can explain this to yourself, then you can also explain it to an employer. And then feel free to apply for this job. But if your honest answer is, no, I can't, then you shouldn't apply for the job because you can't do the job. Obviously. Immigrantspirit.com is one source that you can use for to find only English job offers in Germany. We filter the complete internet basically, and we scan nearly all English job offers in Germany. 40,000 career websites, company websites, blogs, and so on. And we filter out every English job offer that we find and put it on one site, immigrantspirit.com. It's not 100% complete, but pretty near 100%. So let's say you found a fitting job offer. That's step 2. You read very carefully the job description. You check if you have the necessary skills to deliver the results that they are seeking. And because I get this ask very often, your guideline for applying should be, if you have 2/3 of the skills that they describe in the job offer, in the job advertising, feel free to apply. Now, if you have the feeling you can do this, and you have like 2/3 of the skills, feel free to apply. Because job advertisement is, it's like a fairy tale. They put everything in there that they can dream of. And be aware that very often, unfortunately, the job advertisement is very different from the actual job. If you ever have been to a job interview in Germany, you probably have experienced this, that you're sitting in the interview and suddenly it turns out that the actual goals of this job are very different from the job advertisement. And the reason for that is that job advertisements are written by HR, and HR never bothers to find out which results does the company try to achieve with this position. Human resources, I'm sorry, they are very much like referees in a soccer game who don't know that the point of soccer is to score goals. How are they supposed to judge the players? And that's one of the reasons why in this 7 steps, I will show you how to avoid talking to HR and talk to someone else instead. So what do you do now? You found the fitting job. You have the feeling you can do this job. Now you go and apply, right? No. That's not what you do. You don't apply for this job. because that's what you always did and it doesn't work, right? So what you will do instead is you will try to find the manager that offers this job. As Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, says very beautifully, opportunities do not float like clouds in the sky. They are connected to people. Every job offer has a manager who put this job offer out there because he has a problem that he needs to solve. He advertises this job not because he needs to spend money, because he has a problem that he needs to solve, and he wants to find people who can help him solve this problem. And there's already a hint what will finally get you a great job. And the first step here is to find a manager behind a job offer. So step 2, find a manager who is offering this job. How do you do this? Let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn versus Xing. Most of you are on LinkedIn. It's the most famous international network, and it's actually growing pretty strong in Germany as well. Now they are at about 11 million members in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And Xing, which is a company here in Germany, similar to LinkedIn, Xing has 13 million members in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And if you're looking for a job in Germany, you should have an account at Xing as well. First of all, because every employer will check you out there. And by the way, both your Xing and your LinkedIn account, they need to be up to date and they need to be as detailed as your CV. So if a recruiter or an employer looks at your LinkedIn profile, your Xing profile, they should really understand what you can do, what you achieved, what you can offer to the company. So if you haven't updated your LinkedIn profile, or if you're not a member of Xing, become a member now, sign up right after the webinar. It's free of charge, because then employers can find you much easier. But both networks have, we will use them for something very different. We will use them to find a manager behind the job. And I use Xing as an example because Xing is still more popular in Germany and it has the better search function. You will need to sign up for the premium account of Xing to use all these functions, but it's compared to LinkedIn, it's really cheap. It's like 4 euros per month or something. So it's really affordable. But the benefits are great. So you found a job offer, and we saw in the job offer that this was for a project manager for a fast charging project with a great energy company, a very big German energy company. So what you do is you go into the search for members on Xing, and you search for fast charging in this company, E.ON, and you come up with a number of members. If it's a big company, you sometimes get a lot of results, like 100. Then you have to narrow your search. But very often you will find that there's only like 20 or 30 results. And then you go through each of these contacts to identify the most likely manager. And let me be clear. If you want to work as a project manager at E.ON, you're not looking for the CEO of E.ON. He's not dealing with you. You're looking for your direct supervisor, the person who will be your boss, your direct boss. And if you have some work experience, then you can figure out what kind of background does this person need. So let's say you identified this manager. In this case, it's Lukas. Then the next step is to reach out to him, right? Again, not right. First of all, if you can't find a manager, you find someone in his team, also a colleague basically of yours in the future. If you can't find a colleague, you find the person in the company that you think can help you best find the actual managers. It doesn't really matter if if it turns out that the person you contact will be wrong. If you establish a good relationship, then they usually will say, hey, I'm the wrong person for this, but give me a day and I will find out to whom you need to talk. And then you get your introduction this way. So now you identified the decision maker, your future boss, or a colleague in your future team, or if you can't find that, the best person you can identify, and you will reach out to this manager, and you will completely ignore HR. So far, you didn't send a job application to anyone. You reach out instead to the manager. And again, I have to warn you. You will not go to the manager and say, hey, manager, I have a job. You have a job that I want. Give me this job. I can do this and this and this and this, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. I say this so harsh because I really want you to understand this. Nobody cares what you have to offer, what you did in the past. Not at this stage. What people, including you and me, only care about is ourselves. All day long, we run around with a little girl inside of our head who runs around in circle with her little skirt singing, me, 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 me. That's the only thing we care about, ourselves. Not to that extreme sometimes, but that's the gist of it. So if you reach out to the manager, if you want to have his attention, if you want him to listen to you, what should you talk about? Should you talk about yourself, or should you talk about the manager? We'll get back to this point in a moment, and I'll let you think about this a little bit because this is a really important step. And in the meantime, I will show you what we will do, because ideally you don't reach out directly to the manager, because then you're just a stranger and it's really difficult to get into a conversation. You can make it much easier for you if you find something you have in common with the manager. This can be that you went to the same university. It can be that you in the past worked for the same kind of companies, that you had a hobby that you share. And the best way, the best connection that you can have with the manager to win trust very, very fast is a human connection. If there's people that you and the manager both know. So unfortunately, we have a new data protection rule coming up here in the European Union, which forced both LinkedIn and Xing to change the way they work. Until now, it was very beautiful, because if you had a premium account, you could actually see with every person how far you are away from that person, how many people you need to reach this person. For example, with Lukas, in our example, Lukas knew Pia, and I could see that. And I knew Thomas, and I could see Thomas and Pia know each other. So I knew that I could reach out to Thomas to get introduced to Pia, to get introduced to Lukas. So I admit I'm in a much better position here than you, because my network, if I count the people that I know and the people they know, has by now reached potential of 3 million people here in Germany, which means that there's 3 million people in the German job market that are not closer than 2 steps away from me. And 1 step away from me, meaning that my target person and I have a common friend, there's 500,000 people in Germany that both me and my target person can connect me to. So I have an advantage over you, because I'm German. I'm 45 years old very soon, and I'm in business for 28 years now. So I know a lot of people, and you come fresh to the country. So for you, it might be harder to find a human connection. So you have to do the second best thing, which is find something else that you have in common. Jobs that you had shared, employers that you have shared, hobbies that you have shared, universities you shared, this kind of stuff. So define for yourself, before you actually reach out to the manager, which connection you want to use. A human connection is the best one. Nothing beats a personal introduction. This next best thing is values that you share, experiences that you share. Then you need to win cooperation. And both cooperation from the person who will introduce you, if that is the case, or cooperation from the manager that you want to talk to. And here's a secret. If you want people to help you, then do everything yourself. People will be very willing to help you if you already did everything for yourself. What do I mean with this? If you find a job and you realize that your friend knows the manager, don't go to your friend and say, hey, can you introduce me? Because your friend will say, oh, yeah, sure, I will do this. And then he immediately forgets. That's just human nature. What you do instead is you go to your friend who knows the manager and you tell your friend, hey, friend, you know this guy who has a job that I'm interested in. If I send you a message for this manager, would you be so kind to forward it for me? Would you do this for a friend? Of course. First of all, you want to help your friend. Second of all, you don't actually need to do anything. You will get a pre-written email from the contact if you want to introduce someone. You can read through the email, make sure that you don't get embarrassed, which is very important. We are very protective of our reputation. It's the most valuable thing we have. And then when you read it and you see everything is okay, you just forward it. It's just press forward and it's gone. You don't actually have to do anything and you don't have to think. And here's a secret. The number one thing that people hate the most is if they have to use their brain. So if you want someone to help you, you have to do all the thinking, all the preparation for them, so that the only thing they have to do is to say yes. Which brings us back to the immigrant spirit, because that's actually the attitude that succeeds here, that is winning here. The people who aim to make life easier for everybody else, they are the people who are successful in this new world, because this new world runs on connections. So, you found a fitting job. You realized you can do the job. You found a manager. You found a way to connect with him, either by a human person or by a shared interest. You now reach out to this manager or you get introduced. No? And what you want with this introduction, the whole point why you talk to the manager and not to HR is to tell them how great you are for this job, right? Wrong. See, I get interviewed by German newspapers quite often. But that doesn't happen because I go to newspapers and I say, hey, I'm so great. Do you want to interview me? It happens because a journalist wants to write usually about Fachkräftemangel, which is the topic at hand, and international recruitment. And they start to Google who is the most knowledgeable person on this topic. And sooner or later, they come to me. Why? Because I work in this field every day. I write about this field every day. So they reach out to me because I done my job. And they understand I can really help them because I have written about this for a long, long time. And the same goes for you. I know about this stuff so well, not because I'm so smart. I'm not. I know about this stuff so well because for many, many years, I talk every single day with international professionals. I talk with the German HR managers and I talk with German employers. And the thing that I do all day long is ask them about their problems. That's the fastest way to become an expert in any field. Ask people about their biggest problem and why it is so important. And that's what you will do with the manager. That's the whole point why you reach out to them. All the other candidates, they send out a job application writing how great they are. Every single cover letter starts with, hello, my name is XY, I'm a software developer, I have 5 years of experience, I worked on 5 projects, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to know this. The manager doesn't want to know this. The HR person doesn't want to know this. Why? Because we can read all of that in your CV. But we want to know, what we all want to know, and what you also want to know, if you are really honest to yourself, is only one thing. how can you help me solve my problem? That's the reason why you are spending this beautiful sunny evening. If you're in Germany, the sun is out, it's really nice. That's why you spend this beautiful evening on your phone or on your computer listening to me, because you have a problem that you can't break through this constant rejection of German HR, and you want to find a better way to get a job in Germany, to finally get into a job interview at least. And not because I'm so knowledgeable about anything. It's about what you want to achieve. And the manager is just a person like you. He doesn't care what you did in the past. Zero. He cares, I have a problem and I need someone to help me solve this problem. So when you reach out to this manager via Xing, via LinkedIn, you don't talk about yourself. What you do instead is you say, hello manager, we have this and this in common. It's so great to meet you. I see you have a job to offer in this and this field. Would you be so kind to spend 5 minutes answering me 2 short questions so that I can prepare my application in a way that you can easily evaluate? You make it about the manager. You don't make it about yourself. No? You talk to the manager about actually, you don't talk to the manager. When you get to talk to the manager, you ask him. You ask him 2 questions only. Number 1, what's your biggest problem? And number 2, why is this problem so important? And Elon Musk, for sure you have heard of him, did exactly the same when he introduced the Tesla semi-truck. He got, without any advertising, 2,000 reservations for the Tesla semi-truck already now. And how did he do this? Because when they didn't simply design a truck and then ask people, do you want to buy it? No, they started with a truck, and while they were designing it, they went out to all their potential customers and asked them exactly these questions. What's your biggest problem? Why is this problem so important? And one of the problems that the truck companies told Elon Musk and his team was that apparently the windshield of a semi-truck breaks about once per year. And that means downtime. This means that goods don't get delivered. That means that there's long delays for many, many hours and high repair costs. So Tesla, when they invented the Tesla semi-truck, they introduced a bulletproof windshield. Elon Musk jokes that this windshield can survive a nuclear blast. And they knew that this is valuable for truck companies because they asked the truck companies. And you need to do the same. The most simple, most natural thing in the world. When you talk to an employer, instead of telling how great you are, ask him, hey, what's your biggest problem in regard to this position? What keeps you awake at night? Why is that so important? How do you measure success? Why this exactly? And if you do this, and then you will understand what is most valuable to the employer, and then, only then, can you address this concrete challenge. And you can talk concretely and not generically. You know, all job applications is, I'm very good at doing stuff in a business environment. Doesn't say anything. But if you listen to what the employer really needs, you can say, hey, I know that you have to replace your windshield in your truck once per year. I know this costs you a lot of trouble and stress. It makes your life miserable, costs you money. You're always delayed. Your customers are unhappy. We have a solution for you. We have a bulletproof windshield. Your windshield will never break. Would this help you? And you can do the same. Once you understand what your employer's problem is, you can draw from your work experience and say, hey, you know what? I had a similar problem in the last company that I worked for, and we did this and this and this to solve the problem, and this was the outcome. Now, ask yourself, those of you especially who are leading teams in their current job, ask yourself, if you would be an employer, a German employer used to hire in German, and you talk to someone who clearly is a professional, who is interested in your problems and how to solve them and how to help you, and who can describe in detail from past experience how he actually will solve your problem. Not in generic terms, but very concretely. Why wouldn't you hire this person? What does it matter if you speak German or not, if you can solve the biggest problem of the manager? German you can always learn. But believe me, and those of you who are leading teams know that this is true, it's really, really hard to find people with this kind of attitude. People who have your back, people who really take ownership of their jobs, people who constantly try to better themselves. If you find someone like this and he can solve your problem, that's the kind of people you want to hold. And all other stuff like learning German, that stuff. That's exactly what helped me. All this come together with me, the Fox Group, and so on, and so on, and so on. They work together with me because I took the time to understand their problems better than anybody else. And only when I really understood their problems and why they are important, then I offered a solution. The same with the press coverage that I get. I don't get asked by the press about Fachkräftemangel because they can't find anybody else. They ask me because they see that I have a unique viewpoint on this situation and that I can really describe what the real challenges are. Yeah, and finally, of course, and that's the one thing that makes me proud the most, people like you, expatriates, they come to me to get my help to find a job in Germany because I clearly understand what they're going through. I know what it feels like when you have written 50, 100, 150 applications and you start to doubt yourself. I had a webinar, I had a speech in the American Women's Club in Düsseldorf some years ago. And two women approached me and seriously asked me, am I good enough? I'm applying over and over and over, and I don't get anything. Am I good enough? And both of these women had degrees from Ivy League universities, one from Cambridge, one from Berkeley. And I understand that many of you, despite an excellent education, despite excellent work history, you just run against a wall in Germany over and over and over. And I'm here to say you, it's not your fault. You're simply talking to the wrong people. The people who don't care and who don't know. Human resources. You need to let them go. Just like an old girlfriend, you need to let her go. And instead, you need to reach out to people who, quite frankly, are professionally on your level, which is the actual manager that you want to work for. And then think of yourself not as a job seeker. Think of yourself as a consultant, someone who is there to figure out what the manager's problem is and offer a solution. Because that's what we all want, someone who has our back. If you want to read more testimonials from my clients, the list is getting longer and longer. You can find it at piak.eu/hired. piak.eu/hired. Yeah, that's step number 7. Get the job. No? You reach out to the manager. You make it all about her or him. You really understand his or her problem. You offer a solution, concrete solution based on your past experience. And then you will say, you will often realize that it's the manager who would say, hey, send me your CV. I'm interested to meet you. Let me warn you, this doesn't work every single time, but it works very well on average. I work with a good number of professionals every year. I try to get the number smaller all the time, so I have more time for my clients in the Experts Job Offer Guarantee. And there we reach out every single week to 5 new employers that my clients tell me about. So each of my clients sends me 5 new employers, not all of them together. Sense of humor. So my clients, they will send me every week 5 new job offers and 5 new managers that they are interested in. And I will reach out to these managers for them because I have the bigger network. And on average, I can tell you that 40% of them, 40% of the managers that I reach out to will be in a group chat with my clients within 3 weeks. 40% within 3 weeks. Imagine you do this for 4 weeks. You reached out, or I reached out on your behalf to 20 managers, and 8 of them will be in a conversation with you about the concrete jobs that they have to offer right now that you are interested in because you chose these jobs. How does this compare to what you have done so far? How many conversations with actual hiring managers did you have in the last 3 months, in the last 6 months, in the last 12 months? 4 weeks from now, you can be in a conversation with 6, 8, 10 different managers about concrete jobs that they are offering. I understand that for you, this is more difficult. If you just start out here, you have no contacts, means your non-existing contacts have no other contacts that are connected to them, and they in turn have also no other contacts that are connected to them. For me, it's much easier. This is an old graphic, but now I'm connected to 500,000 people who are just one step away from me. No? So the person 2 steps away from me, 500,000 people, they know one that I know that I can ask to introduce me. And these third-grade contacts, I have about 3 million by now. Just comes over the time. And this is what I want to offer to actually 2 of you in May, because every month I have 4 spots for the experts job offer guarantee. But for a long time I have been sold out. That's why I canceled the last 2 webinars. And for this webinar, also already 2 of the spots have been booked, which means there are now 2 spots in May for 2 experts who want to have a guarantee that they get a job within 6 months. Because that's what I'm offering to you. If you implement my program and you stick to it, I guarantee that in 6 months you will have a job. And if you don't have a job, I would refund your guarantee fee. And I'm lucky enough to say that so far that was never necessary. So far I have a 100% success rate. If you want to work together with me, please join pyak.com/guarantee. That's basically my name, pyak.com/guarantee. Ich buchstabiere das mal. I will, how you say, buchstabieren? I will spell it out for you. pyak.com/guarantee. pyak.com/guarantee. And then you will find this wonderful website here. If you scroll down, you will find a calendar. And on the calendar, you can choose a time and a date for your first coaching session. And I recommend you book today because I have only 2 spots left in May. If you don't book today, there's a chance that you might have to wait till June to get one of the upcoming spots, because we will work together for 6 months, up to 6 months, very intensely every single week. I will be there to hold your hand, to advise you on every step along the road and introduce you to more people. And this takes a lot of time. It takes really a lot of time and effort, and I have to think very hard about how to introduce you the best to the managers that you are seeking out. So I can work only with a limited number of clients every month. And only when clients are leaving, because I'm fully booked, only when clients are leaving, I can open up new places. So I have 2 spots available here in May that you can book at pyak.com/guarantee. if you wait too long, then it might be that the next spot will be available only in June. That's from my side for today. I thank you very much for your patience, for the time you spent with me. I hope you found something useful, learned something useful. Reach out to the managers. That's the best way to get a job. Focus not on yourself and what you need. Focus on them and what they need, because that's the fastest way to sell your own services. And let's face it, if you are looking for a job, what you're really doing is you're offering your services. And the fastest way to offer your services is not to talk about what you can do, but to find out what other people need and explain to them how they get what they need. My name is Chris Piak. I'm the author of How to Win Jobs and Influence Germans, and the manager of Immigrant Spirit GmbH, which celebrates this year its 5th anniversary. Very proud in August. It's 5 years that I'm doing this job back here in Germany. And I would be glad if you will become one of my clients and we will work together on your career. Sign up at piak.com/guarantee. My name is Chris Piak. Bye-bye.